Sudan 2011, when that country was being born, the celebration that preceded the day itself, 2 days, people are on the street because they wanted self-determination from Khartoum. One time I interviewed the late Abu Mayanja, and he told me the day Uganda got independence, the euphoria in town, the excitement. So that excitement has gone. Part of the reason it has gone, Aisha spoke about it, 73% of our years as a nation, we've been under one government, we've been under one president, Yoweri Museveni. And I had an opportunity to discuss this with him when we were on a talk show. The point Egesa made.
Rose Namayanja, the Deputy Secretary General of the National Resistance Movement, Mr. Leonard Egesa, a political analyst, Honorable Aisha Kabanda, Woman Member of Parliament for Butambala and Deputy Secretary General of the National Unity Platform, together with our frontliner, Honorable Ssemuju Uganda, Member of Parliament, Kira Municipality, and Chief of Staff. Chief of Staff. Another title.
A function.
I think you have about 10 of them. Spokesperson, now brand master.
Those are functions.
You must be overwhelmed. You just wake up to
continue with the introduction.
Well, good to have you.
Thank you.
Honorable Namanya, I'll start with you. Pleasure having you. NRM boasts the biggest chunk of years post-independence. Today, as we celebrate Independence Day, President Museveni at Kololo said, "You are unstoppable." Unstoppable for what?
First of all, it's a pleasure to be here, and good evening and happy independence to the panelists and all Ugandans. And yes, it is true, NRM has been in power for the biggest part of the 63 years.
40 years to be precise.
Yeah, almost. We are there. And as I was watching the last ad which was airing, you're talking about trials and triumphs. It has not been a smooth road. It has been slippery, it has been thorny in some cases, ever since we got independence. As I was coming here, I was talking to my mother, and she told me she was 17 years when Uganda was getting independence. So those like her and many others have a different view of what we who were born post-independence. I mean, a lot of the things we talk about, I was not there during the 1964 referendum. I was not there during the 1966 crisis, the 1967 pigeonhole constitution. I was not there. I was in P6 in 1986, and I had not figured it out so well in as far as comprehension of what was going on in the country is concerned. So a lot of that, some of us read about it or hear about it and we learn about it. But there are those Ugandans who have seen it all, who are of adult age and have seen the transformation. But I can also say that even when it is almost 40 years, Uganda was, from my perspective, I think we gained, the first independence I can talk about is stability. That I can move and do whatever I want at any time of the day, and until, even when NRM came to power in 86, but until 2008, some parts of the country were under war. So for me, the aspect of a country being stable, that you're not talking about rebels in any corner of the country. Ugandans can, somebody at his or her shop can leave the fridge outside and find it on the veranda in the morning. That level of stability for me is the first level of independence. But when you talk about what President Museveni says, we are unstoppable. You didn't conclude the statement. He said we are unstoppable in our journey of enkulakulana, because akyogedde mu Luganda, our journey of development. Even that development aspect of it, both wealth and development for individuals and families, that's wealth. But development of the country has also been a journey.
Well, I'll get back to you. Leonard, politically speaking, what benchmarks do we employ in gauging the milestones the country has registered and the setbacks?
Thank you, Simon, for inviting me. First, I will correct you, I'm not a political analyst. I'm a political and business strategist. And number two, I came with the two of the leading dailies here. And that is what I'm going to use to answer your question. You know, there has been a story, that a legend that has gone around on social media for a long time about guarding a concrete slab. I don't know if you've come across it. In many organizations, people guard concrete slabs. So that story comes from a military barracks, that there once was an army barracks where there was a concrete slab near the quarter guard. So people used to, every commandant who was sent to that barracks was sending 4 soldiers to guard that slab full time, and even in the night. So after so many years of this practice, one brilliant commander surfaced and asked, why do we put 4 men to guard that concrete thing there? What is underneath there? Why should there be 4 men? So nobody could explain it to him. So they went digging up the records in the archives. They never found sufficient reason until they went back 80 years in time, and they discovered that when that thing was built, it was basically a platform for the parade commander to stand on. So when it was built, the first night, dogs ran over wet cement. Yeah, and then, so when the following day, the commandant said, go and make sure there are 4 men guarding that thing until the cement dries up. So what happened is that it became a ritual. Why? Because the commandant was transferred before the 4 days elapsed. So the guy who replaced him continued deploying 4 men there every night. So people continued, so all his successors continued doing the same thing without actually knowing what the purpose was. Now, you imagine how many years of wasted resources that was in that particular unit. So what am I driving to? Is that we are not yet independent as a country. The white man could have left the country and gone, but our minds are still colonized. Our minds are still colonized. Many people who are occupying government offices are suffering from impostorism, or what you would call the impostor phenomena, or the imposter syndrome. That is the biggest thing, and until we overcome that, we are not going to progress as a nation.
But we celebrate independence.
Yes, we shouldn't be celebrating independence, because until we overcome imposter syndrome, we shouldn't celebrate independence. What is imposter syndrome? It is a syndrome where people think they don't qualify to occupy certain positions on merit. They think that they fraudulently, or by sheer luck, they ended up in those positions. Why did I carry these 2 newspapers? It was just for symbolic purposes. When I was going through these papers, I don't buy newspapers, by the way, in hard copy. I read, I pay and read online. But why I bought these, because I realized they were independent supplements. Now, what is the message in those supplements? All these people, you find their government agencies, Atomic Energy Council, Uganda National Oil Company, blah, 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 so many ministries and what have you. They are writing, and the message is the same. They are saying the board and the board of directors and the management of this organization congratulate His Excellency, who is even the appointing authority, yeah, for most of these fellows. They are congratulating him for independence. Are we independent? So the message is actually useless. It has no value. But it is something that has been done over and over and over and over, and it's a colonial relic. It's a colonial relic. Why? Because you see, when we were colonized, the sovereign was the crown in the UK. Yeah. So people wanted to get favors from the sovereign, who was the crown. So the newspapers at the time carried such messages. Okay. So now, even when we say we got independence, our people who are occupying these offices still waste resources. Do you know how much it costs to pay for a full-page advert in this newspaper?
Thank you. I'll certainly,
Yeah?
we will certainly get back to that.
Yes.
Honorable Aisha Kavanza. what kind of conversation is the country having as we celebrate 63 years of independence? And what do you think are the lingering questions that are yet to be answered, speaking to independence?
You see, when we are starting the conversation, you said, what are the strides? What are lessons, setbacks? I was like, okay, strides. There are some strides registered. And unlike him, I don't wish to be recognized. I don't. Because when you say don't celebrate us there, today we are the ones who are there. For them, they played their part. There's that even common view that Uganda got independence on a silver plate. It was never the case. The Ike Musazis, the late Kachama Mayanja, there are people like Ssemuju, I've forgotten his second name, in 1948. His scholarship in London was terminated for fighting for freedom for Uganda. It was terminated, and then the Bataka had to contribute resources to ensure that it is paid for. So it was not in a silver plate. Those Ugandans at the time played their part. Even us, it is, regardless by the way of our political affiliations, the good thing many of us, except this one who is not a politician, many of us here have belonged to different political outfits. But one thing that is common is that we are Ugandans. We are supposed to play that role. He talked about government, that people still think we are independent, but there are opposition politicians who even appeal to the former colonizers to come and play part in our politics. So there's that mental decolonization.
The same way we run for them for budget.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that all of us are supposed to play a part, regardless of political affiliation.
I was not targeting your party. I was talking about Ugandans in general.
Because those ones who did so at that time. Today we are the ones who are there. Tomorrow we will not be there. But we picked up from where they left. Let's play our part. The rest are coming in. Otherwise, the whole of Africa, most of these countries in Africa are not fully independent. They still depend, their budgets depend on the former colonizers. When my sister Aisha talked about the 3 C's and all that kind of stuff, yes, I agree with him, but you know, Uganda doesn't grow at the same homogeneous state. She gave the example of Utambala. But the president, what he was saying today is that we depended on coffee when we were growing up. And that's all we knew, at least in my area, in where I come from in Bulemes. We knew there was coffee, and that was it. Nothing else. But now, even if you look at coffee alone, when you look at the level of growth that we have reached as a country, being one of the biggest producers of coffee in the world, and exporters. For me, that is a stride. Let me first conclude this. When I got deep to the other, because what the president was saying, yes, we depended on coffee, but the milk industry is big. The grain industry is big. When you go to areas where you would live, in 2000, I was a youth leader. I traveled to Ngoma in Nakaseke. And a tax, just one tax would leave you, if by 6 a.m. the tax leaves you, you wait for 6 a.m. the next day. A lot of that had to do with infrastructure.
Okay, do you want to look at economic milestones and attribute them to independence?
Yeah, they are. They are both economic, political, and what you talk about government.
I thought most fundamentally it was about fixing the political problem, the governance issues.
But if the political issues were not fixed, okay, there's no way you cannot talk about, you can talk about development.
How?
If you look at the security or politics development nexus, the reason why Uganda lagged behind in the immediate post-independence period was because of the instability and the fragile political environment.
Let's go bit by bit. Yes. Where does Uganda stand on the question of governance?
I want to say that we are better than what we were before independence. I mean,
immediate post-independence.
Better by...
Because let's just look at, you asked the criteria one would look at, but let me just look at the constitution making process. I talked about 1967. We all know there was a pigeonhole constitution where it was put in the members' pigeonhole. No, we are talking about independence, the 63 years. Unless you are saying...
The pigeonhole constitution is not the independence constitution.
It's not.
The pigeonhole constitution is 1967.
But it is part of the independence.
And then by you Ugandans who have had the opportunity to mismanage yourselves.
Okay.
The whole
journey, yes.
We must be also real and talk about issues as they are. If you look at the pigeonhole constitution in 1967 and the 1995 constitution, for me, I am a believer. I cannot say that NRM has done 100%. It's never there. There's no government that can do 100%. But I can comfortably say that we may not be where we want to be, but we are not where we were.
Mr. Gesa, let's first look at the question of governance, which actually compelled the politicians then, or the activists then, to struggle for independence. Where does Uganda stand?
We have been going through a cycle. You remember that cycle, the vicious cycle they teach in high school economics? So we have been in that kind of cycle on the aspect of governance as a country. We have had a change of guard, but we keep rotating around the same things. And this is so because it is by design. The British did not leave Uganda in good faith. They left in bad faith. Because of the changing world order, they had to surrender the governance, at least for symbolic reasons, in many of these countries. So what we have persistently had over the 63 years is a weak and feeble state, which cannot guarantee that a change of government is impactful to the population. Yeah? So when I say weak and feeble state, I mean the key institutions of a state that are supposed to make sure that there is a smooth transition in governance, leaders come and go, have always been captured by a cabal or a few people. Yeah? So that's why you see one of the critical institutions of a state that are supposed to, to guarantee that kind of, continuity in stability and all that is the military. So you see that, we have had, that military instability over the years. Now, what happened during Idi Amin's time, there is no guarantee it cannot happen right now. Yeah? We are not at a position where you can say it cannot happen. And this is not without basis. I'm not trying to be alarmist. You saw the other day that some MPs tried to stretch their luck. They invited the Chief of Defense Forces, and he told them off. He said, "Those are a bunch of clowns. I cannot appear before them." Yeah, and did he appear? In fact, the Speaker was apologizing on behalf of Parliament. Yeah, so which means that the democratic experiment which Ugandans aspire to have in the CA is not actually realized. It still remains a pipe dream. So we are not yet there. So the question of governance. So that's why I'm telling you that if you look at the 40 years of
NRM celebrates constitutionalism.
No. They are gaslighting us. They shouldn't be celebrating constitutionalism. You see, the problem with overstaying in power is that you are forced to undo your earlier achievements. So President Museveni, you see, the way we used to look at President Museveni between 1986 and 2005, it's not the way we have been looking at him in the last 20 years. Because he has been undoing most of his earlier strong points. Ugandans. I'm talking about Ugandans. I'm talking about Ugandans of my generation. I am 41 years old. I was barely 2 years old. I was actually less than 1.5 years old when President Museveni took power in January 1986. Yeah. So when I tell you I've lived most of my life under President Museveni, when we were in 1994, I was a Boy Scout in primary school. Yeah. Yeah, so in 1994, I was a Boy Scout in primary school. We went to independence celebrations. We had spent weeks preparing for that parade. It rained on us, and we were so happy because we were participating in independence celebrations. Today, I cannot forget about even braving the rain. I cannot even sit and watch the speech on TV for about 1.5 hours. Why? That's what Honorable Ssemuju has been explaining. You see, so we have to be realistic here. However good you are, when you overstay, governments by their own nature become stale, and the systems You know, still, when they say still, I think I should put it in Luganda for people who are watching us to understand. Zigaga. Government Igaga.
That's extreme.
Yeah. No. You see, why President Museveni has been changing names. He has been changing names of programs for improving livelihoods. It's because the impact remains more or less the same. The changes in terms of impact on the ground are infinitesimal. In mathematics, we call it infinitesimal. They are negligible, almost negligible. They are very small changes. So because of that, the other time he was calling it Entandikwa, he changed it to NADS, it became Bonaba Gagawale. So every election cycle, the names keep what? Keep changing. Impact remains almost the same. There's not much that is changing.
As I shift to Honorable Aisha, Honorable Namayanja was categorical. She said, we are not where we're meant to be, but we are somewhere. Do you buy into that statement?
Like I said, we are in a cycle. So, like I said, whatever gains we had registered in the first 20 years of the NRM, we have reversed most of them. Now we are closer to a military coup than we were in 2005.
Thank you.
Yes.
Borrow the analogy of General Muntu. General Muntu, one time when he was presenting one of the documents in the FDC meetings, he said NRM likes judging its achievement by not where we are going, but where we came from. And he said, if you're traveling to Masaka, a journey of 1 hour, and at 55 minutes you are in Chengera.
You are somewhere, of course.
You are somewhere, but at that speed it will take you 2 years to reach Masaka.
Well, very interesting. Honorable Aisha, where do you start in judging or scoring NRM on the question of governance? NRM that has been in power for the greatest part of post-independence.
You see, Comrade Igisa said that when you stay in power for too long, you start undoing your own achievements. You said NRM prides in constitutionalism, and as Honorable Namanya speaks, she refers to the 1967 Pigeonhole Constitution. And I keep wondering, how different was that constitution making from the 2027 constitution amendment exercise? 2017. How different? The 1967 constitution was made under a heavily guarded parliament, okay, with the soldiers all around, and even in 2017 we saw military tanks that were supposed to be probably at the borders at parliament. We saw members of parliament battered for the views they held. So how different was the 1967 making exercise,
the
Pigeonhole Constitution, from the most recent 2017 Constitution Amendment exercise? So they undid what they did. Okay? So one man, President Museveni is known for, first of all, denying what he's going to do. He said, when they asked about it, he said, no, it's not true, it's not going to happen. And then it happened, and it was supposed to be by force. Members of parliament, some of them are still casualties of that exercise. I think Honorable Ssemuju could be among those. Maybe he has effect that he may not even be able to tell now. Okay? So our problem, and I want to believe with you entirely, that our major problem is been governance. And I disagree with Egisa. When he blames the colonial masters for leaving us with the weak institutions because they went in bad faith, they didn't want to go. Come on, 63 years. Are we so empty that even after leaving us that way, we could do nothing?
Simon, can I have a minute and a rebut?
It's okay, let me just make my point. Simon, it speaks to the greed, the selfishness. No one should tell you that people don't know what should be done. Okay? They attempted to do good things in the beginning, in 1986. They did. Everyone followed them. We just didn't know that we are living a very deceitful life. People have been understanding at different level that they were actually deceived. Okay? So we just have a batch of leaders that have been so deceitful, okay, that are very selfish, and have chosen not to help Uganda. Just let me conclude it. I am sure after NRM goes, Another leader is going to come and rewind to 1986, where President Museveni got us. Redo a constitution, start afresh, get people that are going to participate in it. Talking about patriotism.
So you want to suggest that another leader could also end up doing the same things
I
the past
predict
leader?
another leader is going to come and do that. Okay? Two things I don't want to forget. I have had Honorable Namayanja trying to insinuate that there are political parties here that are praying for us to go back into colonialism, okay? That we call for them. Honorable Namayanja, when we call for help from other countries, we're not calling them to come and manage us. We're just telling them, please, you are facilitating problems that are happening here. Because if they are not giving us, if they are not leaving President Museveni with the liberty to collect monies and divert them elsewhere, probably he would be squeezed, okay? But because they fund him and give him all the resources, he's at liberty to divert the national resources that would be
Well, before I bring in Honorable Ssemuju,
finally,
I think it's, in all fairness, we need to get back to Honorable Namayanja.
Okay. The patriotism, because independence is supposed to check our patriotism. It reignites, okay, our patriotic spirit. Okay? Now, talking about patriotism, look at a Ugandan that goes in hospitals and finds situations in hospital and say they are not patriotic. Look at teachers that are suffering the way they are suffering. They are being discriminated, living different lives, and they are listening leaders living very lavish lives. Okay? An IGG who can proudly come on a station and say, you people, you're the casualties of the corruption. When I felt sick, they'll fly me out. And you're telling people, please be patriotic, love your country so much for you to be good Ugandans.
Honorable, I might need your rebuttal now, Honorable Namayanja. They seem to be talking more about reversals. Is the country living in denial that today we celebrate when in actual sense there is no reason to celebrate?
First of all, I don't know which party, if any, that Mr. Igesa belongs to, but the colleagues in the opposition are entitled to their opinions. And they look at these things, all of us, by the way, look at these things when we talk about governance, when we talk about politics, we look at it from different lenses. So it's their opinion and they are entitled to it.
You're not surprised?
I am not surprised, and I don't expect them to come here and say it is very good that there is this level of development, because for me, just from the perspective of when Mr. Gesa says that he's speaking for all Ugandans of his age, how can you convince everybody that actually all Ugandans of your age bracket believe the same things? There are many Ugandans of the same age bracket that believe by conviction in the NRM policies.
But they suffer from the consequences.
You should not cry more than the bereaved. Because they go out, even in the aspect, in the arena of politics alone, they go out, nobody calls them, and they say, I want to contest for politics. At the parish level, at the sub-county level, at the member of parliament level, on the NRM ticket.
Okay.
These are Ugandans of the same.
How do you rate
but what I can say,
the question of governance?
What I can say, even when, for me, I can rate NRM at 8. Looking from where we came from, and we know where we want to go. This business of saying that NRM looks at where we came from alone, the president has come out that he wants biometric voter process. That let's vote by biometrics. We have not reached there. That's where we want to go. And I don't know whether that's where we are going to.
Okay, these are the tenets of governance that I want you to explore. Let's talk about constitutionalism. Do we have a living constitution that is respected?
It is respected. For you to have the three arms of government, Honorable Aisha talked about the 1967 versus the 2017, and still I pick on what she said. We learn from our mistakes. And I said here, very categorical, that not everything that we have done is 100%, but we have done better than anybody. Now, you cannot compare where, if you read from Obote to Obote by Akena Adoko, Akena Adoko, I think it's Akena Adoko. Yes, not Adoko Nechon, Akena, it is Akena. But he was saying, then the Hansard of 1967, where the president then came and said that I hereby declare that a constitution has been abolished, a new constitution has been promulgated, and it is hereby promulgated. Go in the pigeonholes and get your copies. Now, when you compare with the 2017, this was a decision that was taken in Parliament, and then they had to go to courts of law.
And the
government,
decision taken at the
they went up to the courts of law, and the government went and put their case, arguments forward, and the judiciary decided by themselves. So, but for Aisha, Honorable Aisha, to say that in terms of health service delivery, that where we were is where we are, for me, I find that hiding the head under the sand. Because I'll speak from, let me give an example. She gave an example of Utambala. I will still give the example of Nakaseke, where I come from, or Greater Luweero, that somebody would fall sick in Rwampanga, in Nakasongola, because it was one district, and had to, if they had the means, would move from there to Nakaseke, which was the only hospital. By the time NRM came to power, there were 5 health facilities in Greater Luweero. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 88. From 30,
Are you talking buildings? Oh.
And how much by the way, both, because at least right from the village level, somebody who has a health, because you're talking about preventive, curative, and that, and all the other aspects. For me, I am talking about somebody being before a health person, and somebody, a health worker, to support. When you talk about education, from 30 schools in the Greater Luweero to 488 schools, government primary schools.
Okay.
For me, that alone,
okay.
We are not in a level where at my village,
what is
let me conclude this. We are not at a
this
level.
is very important. You're boasting about education, but the recent report,
and I don't expect them to boast about the same anyway.
Out of 1 million who enroll in P1, 2 million that enroll in P1, only 800,000 complete P7.
P7.
But how many were they before? That's where we are coming from. How many were completing?
As we continue the
how many were completing
gains,
before?
reversals and lessons about independence. Good evening. Come back, it's still the front line. You'd love to hear the behind the scenes. Very interesting conversations. But well, Honorable Ssemuju, it sounds a bit flawed that we now look at NRM when discussing independence. NRM has several other days. Is it by fashion today that NRM uses independence to boast about to post their achievements?
The colonial masters were replaced by other masters, and NRM is one of those masters, from Obote to Amin to NRM. So we always make a comparison between Uganda under the colonial administration,
the white,
and Uganda under Museveni, Amin, and Obote. I want us to be independent, but I'm not one of those who will celebrate if I am mistreated by a black man, and I say it is better, I would rather be mistreated by Museveni. If there is a white man who will give me peace, and he doesn't lock me in his basement, shave my beard, and beat me, that's the point I made earlier. You have 170,000 Ugandans who are in Saudi Arabia working as maids. Do they love Saudi Arabia that has given them, put some food on the table, more than Uganda? Which reason do they have to love Uganda more than Saudi Arabia, all those who have gone to Dubai and elsewhere? Because the whole idea, the essence of fighting for independence was self-determination and to make our lives better. People have accused, even our teachers in classrooms have accused the colonialists of exploiting our minerals, exploiting everything. Has that exploitation stopped? It hasn't. People, the other day when I was making a response to the budget. If you look at Uganda's budget, you have about 500,000, to be precise, 400,000 for work for government. They share about 12% of the budget. Then you have another 48, sometimes 38% that goes into debt servicing. So people who are paid the salary, because I kept asking, we have about 300 billion every year for special meals and drinks, and I asked colleagues at Parliament, you've given me a salary, why must you give me breakfast as well? Breakfast that we never take. So the people in the government are enjoying the same benefits like colonial masters were enjoying them, same protection, same everything. So the ordinary person, and that's why people are not bothered. The only time I have seen Ugandans unite and be Ugandan, this is when they are playing football in Namboy. That's why everybody will go and participate. That's why everybody will be on TV. If you put there football there and Museveni giving a speech, I can tell you more than half of the country will watch football, and maybe Namayanja, who is employed by Museveni, will be the only one watching Museveni. Because
when the president is speaking, all media houses must tune in. Because people are choosing to listen to other things.
So there is no value that you've added. In fact, people may even regret having chased away colonialists and then have black people. But we continue conducting ourselves the same way we're conducting ourselves under colonial setup.
You want to call NRM black colonial master?
I don't see any difference. People are still going to Entebbe lining up. So the whole of Uganda is owned by Museveni. Even when he's campaigning, I will give you this, I will give you this, I will give you this. So this is like an enterprise he inherited from his parents. Is the
Let me add you one thing. When you dig into the archives, when the governor Hesketh Bell brought the first car in Uganda, he used to give it out to traders from Entebbe to come to Kampala on Tuesdays and Fridays, because he didn't need to use it. That is a Muzungu colonialist. Now the black colonialists you're talking about, they have to close off the roads from Entebbe to Kampala, and business comes to a standstill, and for him to travel. So I just wanted to enhance your point.
Thank you very much. So I don't see a difference. I mean, I was born post-colonial, but I don't see a difference between Museveni and Sir Andrew Cohen. People used to make trips to Entebbe. I was helping the late Mayanja to do his autobiography. When he wanted a scholarship, he went to Entebbe. That's how he ended up at Cambridge. Museveni still runs the scholarship under his armpit. So if Namayanja wants, and you are a beneficiary of that scholarship, Namayanja. So if you want a scholarship, you run to Entebbe the same way we are running there. So your Nakaseke cannot give anyone a scholarship to go anywhere, but Museveni can. So what's the difference between Museveni and Sir Andrew Cohen? Even the achievements, NRM never likes contextualizing.
Museveni was voted by the people.
NRM never likes contextualizing their argument. They argue out of context deliberately. When Namanya is speaking about growth, she will not tell you what the population was, because I think Uganda was about 5 million when we got independence. At that time, this country was producing either 3 or 2.6 bags of coffee. That first dam in Jinja was built using coffee stabilization fund. That coffee stabilization fund was even used to offer scholarship to students. You, for the 40 years, because I want you to account for the 40 years, I was reading Nana Akufo inaugural speech in Ghana in 2017, and he said, the Africans no longer have an excuse to blame history. All the mess that we have caused, we need to blame ourselves. You can no longer blame colonialists, you cannot blame Amini, you cannot blame Obote. Qatar was turned around in 23 years. This king who was there, his father turned around that country in 23 years and handed over to his son. But it was also like any other desert country. If you go to Dubai, in Dubai, they don't have resources. Oil contributes just about 3%. People there celebrate the managers. The managers are the ones who have turned around the country that doesn't have resources like we have. But there are also other African countries that have made progress.
Okay,
If you go to Ghana, allow me to
are you talking stagnation, stuntedness, or lack of progress at all?
I don't even know. I'm not sure whether we know where we are and where we are going. Even those who are in government, they have no idea. Look, they keep blaming the opposition.
That's stagnation.
I think the only cabinet retreat you guys have had, where Professor Ezra Suruma, at that time he was heading something unity under Prime Minister. On all aspects, he was scoring yourself negative. Even when you look at the implementation of your own programs and policies, UNDP, your performance has averaged 18%. I don't know where you get the 80%, Honorable Namanya. Maybe you live in a different world. Because the documents you
don't expect you to give 80%.
I'm not the one. I have said, if you look at documents from Minister of Finance, they have said Development Plan 3, Development Plan 2, you have averaged 18% performance in all the years. You just abandon one document, as the guest has said, you name another one and continue. The things that you set out to achieve under Development Plan 3, your achievement was 17%,
Yes.
16% Development Plan 2, now your Development Plan. So you change names and change title and then go and say protecting our gains. If you look at the figures from the population census, you have 26 million people who are in the, according to the policy, the labor policy of 2011, who are supposed to be in employment. Only 9 million are working out of 26. You have 10 million younger people aged 18 and 30. 5 million of those are not in school, are not in work. So yeah, and that's why they are every day. If you went to Entebbe, in other countries, if you go to Dubai, they have visitors who are visiting Dubai every year. 54 million people visiting Dubai. For you, the figures you have of Ugandans running away from their country, and maybe that's the achievement that you bring on table. So for me, because if there are other things, maybe you will say, okay, we are poor, but at least we are okay. You are still kidnapping people, you are still abducting. You were in Kolo today celebrating the return of Mande. Besigye, who was treating both Mande and Museveni, is in prison for no crime he has committed. So I don't know. NRM people are very courageous. Otherwise, on a show like this, you shouldn't even be coming. But they are very courageous people. They will come here, put on a very brave face and say, this country has achieved. We are now protecting our gains.
Like she said, everyone is looking at things from
No, that's not true. I have given you their own assessment of their own performance. I'm not the one who scored them on the performance of Development Plan.
I want us to wind up on this. How do you take in that scorecard? Because
of course, it takes in a lot of time when you get from all the three what they are saying and you note down, and yet you are given the same amount of time. But when we talk about, first of all, President Museveni is one of the presidents in Africa that have come out openly to criticize foreign influence. Openly. So for one to say that President Museveni always works and coordinates with the whites and the former colonial masters, it's also wrong. It has not been a bed of roses. That is one. Two, when you talk about the colonial masters of the time, what were they doing in as far as governance is concerned? They had the Entebbe as an administrative center. They had the judiciary, but they also had the Legico, the members of parliament then. Now, who replaced the members of parliament? Let's now move from 1986 or 1995 to now. It is both NRM and the opposition. When my sister Aisha says that when you see leaders living lavishly and taking a lot of money, members of parliament, including those in the opposition, are part of the leaders in this country.
Yes.
So when you get 50 million shillings a month, for me, I don't mind whether it is an NRM MP or an opposition MP. I just want to one time see somebody say, I am not going to take that 50%. And you get that bullet. So for us to sit here and you say it is NRM that is in leadership, and that is taking all this. But I am saying that you as
Shoot it down.
no,
In
you have the capacity as members of parliament because you submit your accounts.
We said each MP should
parliament,
take 20
and
million.
they put this
and
money on
Museveni
your.
said you will bring it back. Didn't we take it back?
For me, what I'm saying is that
20 million, he said you must bring it back.
Yes, they
and we
brought
took it back.
Yes.
But you, why do you want President Museveni to tell you he's not your?
No, but they don't have the numbers.
Whether I'm
They don't have the
parliament
numbers.
or not, that money will still be paid.
Radical decisions require also radical people to
So
take them.
you want me to
So
behave
if we
like
are
was
saying,
Twawula who moved out of parliament and nothing changed?
yeah, let it be counted, but he still you
It
can
should be
still
your policy
refer,
when you're in
you can
government.
still refer to him.
When you were in government,
As
you
you
can't-
No, it's unfortunate that when they are speaking, I humbly
That's the essence
allow
of the
them.
debate. It's okay.
I allow them to make their contribution, and as soon as I start, they come in. But what I'm saying, that lead us in that aspect, because we are all there in the house. Then the other issue, we can speak for
Okay,
a lot of
let's allow her. Let's allow her make her submission.
No, I'm just giving her
we
information.
can speak
No,
a
no,
lot
no.
of
Maybe she
we can
doesn't know.
speak a lot of English here.
Honorable, maybe you don't know. We have chosen to lead you over that. Because Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu has offered that once he becomes president, he's going to cut
No,
down the
before
next
he
election.
becomes
How
president.
do we are not
You
the
are
leaders?
already in
How do we?
parliament.
But
You are already in
you know,
parliament.
but you know there is collective decision. Once parliament
No,
decides,
parliament does not have collective
the
responsibility.
institutions behave like
Two
that's a form
Parliament-
of blackmail.
Yeah.
You want two sides. You want two
There
sides
is
comes in
no,
parliament.
there is no collective responsibility in parliament.
No.
It is your
Do you
right
want two
as a
sides comes in
legislator.
parliament?
It is your right as a legislator.
Noted.
We have offered. We are going to cut
Honorable
salaries.
Aisha,
No, you just
let's
go,
relax.
Aisha, just say from now, even these 3 months,
So that we see it also.
remaining,
Let me
lead
give
us by
every
example.
money. Okay, let me give you
Lead
every
us
money
by
that has been
example.
returned. Every money that has been returned by members of parliament, there's no accountability to it. Let her tell us. Every money that
For
have
me,
returned,
you
it doesn't go
are-
back. It doesn't go back to
I
the
am not in
the
parliament.
consultant fund. It disappears.
I am not in parliament.
Honorable,
I am just at,
Honorable Namayanja, we need to wrap up on this.
No, I
But,
just wanted to conclude on one thing when they said that we keep changing from one program to the other. Still, I'll go back to what
giving new names.
I'll go back to what Aisha said. We learn from mistakes. Where we have not performed well, we come out by ourselves. President Museveni came out and said, NADS has not performed to its expectation. It also a virtue. It also takes leadership for you to acknowledge where you have not done well.
Now we have
and he
PDM,
said,
which are using for
and you have
politics.
said that we were saying that NADS, 45% of the resources would go in capacity building, in workshops, and paying salaries. And he said, I want a single spine
How long did it take him
agricultural
to say that?
structure. Now, when you talk about PDM, we can speak English here of whatever format and nomenclature. But the Ugandans down there, if they get their 1 million, those who cannot even buy this newspaper, Mr. Igesa, you are bringing and say, I have bought this newspaper, I even buy online. But that Ugandan who did not have a coin to buy books, even for a UPE school, got a 1 million shillings.
10 million
and
for parish, right?
No, 100
million.
100
And
million
the
for
difference with this money is that it is not managed by the district, it is not managed by the sub-county, it is managed by people who are elected by themselves at that level.
I want to support
for
you,
me,
Malad.
for me, I can say that the 3.5 million households that have received this money, even if 1 million has made a
I want to
stride,
support
has
Honorable
changed from
over
where
that.
they were to where we are, it is a positive
I want
statistic.
to put you over that positive stride. You give 1 million shillings someone, he's happy he gets it, he goes to hospital, he needs 20 million shillings for treatment, and he doesn't have it. The machines are down.
For
the
you
doctors
talking
are not
about
there.
20 million at
so
the
they
hospital,
need more money
you
for
can
treatment,
go out of
which
the
government has
country,
not
but,
offered, yet you have
for
given
me,
him
I'm
the 1
talking
million
about
shillings.
it's the Bank of Uganda.
I think we are losing focus. As we get out of
I'm
here,
glad
as we
you
get
saw
out of
it.
here,
I'm glad you saw it.
as we get out of here,
System Volongo.
what did the colonizers do that NRM hasn't done?
What did the colonizers do?
In terms of evil.
No, I'm not talking about evil.
No, for me, I want to agree with what Honorable Ssemuju said. And it is not just Uganda alone. The blacks, the Africans, were left with the systems that they were not used to.
So we are still learning.
it has been a process. That's why for me it is a journey. You cannot say, Simon, even if another government takes over today, that next year it will be 100%.
What?
It's never.
Okay.
We must understand it's a journey. There have been, like I said in the ad which came here, trials and triumphs. For us, we can comfortably say that this one we didn't do well, and we want to improve.
Do you have?
And the president has said it. Let me give you the example of roads. When the president comes out and said, you know, I think there's been a problem. We leave these roads, they get destroyed, and we see them. We want to improve now. That we have a rapid response to, even if it's a pothole, let's clean it and move. That's leadership.
Very interesting. I want us now to move on to the next topic.
But some of the things that have been stated.
in a minute.
Yeah, 1 minute.
Painfully, yes.
I'll start from where she has stopped. The Honorable is talking about the president talking about roads. I mean, are you saying we don't have trained engineers here? I remember in our first week in engineering school, 20 years ago, they told us that, you know, a road has a design life. Every engineering structure has a design life. Are you telling me our engineers here don't tell them, for example, Gaba Road, which was rehabilitated towards the NAM Summit, when it was constructed in 2004, are you telling me that we didn't know? Me as a first year student then, I knew that this road, the planning needs to be in place for it to be reworked even before the design life is run. We run it down. So in other words, the thing is this. The thing is this.
Even when in a home, the leader of a home says this is what we are going to do, there could be other children who may not follow. Just even in politics, you see political parties moving, and they say this is the journey we want to take, and this is how we want to take it. And because people don't agree, that's when you see even
no, the point, Honorable is running away from the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room here is the leader's priorities lie elsewhere. The leader's priorities are in consolidating power. His priorities are in consolidating power and entrenching himself in power.
To the gospel of Ogesa.
Yes, but now it is in the open.
On the other hand,
he says it's consolidating gain.
On the other hand, there is no political party that will work to get out of power.
Thank you.
I
want us to make an evaluation of the 2 weeks of campaigns. What's your look of things? I'll begin with you, Honorable Aisha Karanda. How do you assess the 2 weeks of campaigns in terms of the excitement, the promises, the speeches, and the conduct of stakeholders?
2 years into
2 weeks.
Rather, 2 weeks into campaign time, presidential campaign time. Honorable Namanja has just said that they're in a learning process. They keep learning and unlearning. I don't know whether they've been able to unlearn, because well, what I've noticed, I see a lot of enthusiasm on the part of the people that come to our rallies, but despite all constraints that are underway, our candidate has been restrained severely to have the liberty of moving around the districts on the days it's supposed to be in a particular district, because the program is designed in the way that a candidate is in a particular district on a particular day. Even then, you are meant to be in a particular district, the RDCs will restrict you to some particular corner and make sure they divert you to some particular routes where they think it serves their master well. The NRM candidate...
Is the compliance of your candidate anything to surprise the nation? He used to be defiant.
He has done he has tried. I have seen where he has had to jump on a border when the road is closed. He has had to run through plantations to have his way. But should things work like that? In a process where he's saying the NRM has worked so much to ensure that things are moving progressively, is that how things should be? I saw NRM supporters having a procession in Ruweru. I saw them in Pakwach. I have not seen the same liberty being given to my candidate. And also remember that we are working on a very restricted schedule. You have 100 days to cover, is it 149 districts? 100 days, 140-something district. And then you have several hindrances. We are unable to go to Iganga because the powers that are, they thought maybe they just didn't want us to go there, that's all. They just didn't want. So within the limited time, you have to ensure that you reach people and speak to them. We are thankful to the people that despite all odds have been attending our rallies and listening to the president in numbers.
Well, there is this fuss about crowds. It appears as though NRM and the National Unity Platform are rivaling in terms of crowds.
You may call it so, you may call it so. I have seen children in some particular rallies, children. I have seen children on her candidates' rallies.
Opinion.
Yes, and I have also seen, I have seen buses ferrying people to come. We don't ferry people; they come by themselves. So you can judge. You can.
We see crowds following in processions.
Talking about a gari, President's entourage has how many vehicles and how many people? When you consider President Museveni's entourage and the other candidates, who ferries people? But leave alone the gari that comes along with the candidates. I have told you, go where NRM is. There are buses ferrying people to gather. That's what it is.
Simon, no, the politics of crowds in politics is you cannot say it is different for the NRM and the opposition. The politics of crowds is the same. The difference is the motivation of the people attending. The people who attend the NRM rallies, sometimes they finish the rally and they start asking, Ariwat Kolako, who is going to sort us out? No, the ones who are attending their caravan, the UP caravan, they don't have the luxury of asking who is going to sort us out. So at the end of the day, the crowds may appear to be big for both parties. It doesn't mean that the people in that area will end up voting that particular candidate, because there are so many that have been ferried in the area or have brought themselves out of probably passion for the candidate or other motivating factors, like we have said. They ask
you'll allow me get back to Honorable Aisha Kabanda. How unpleasant or strange is it that your principal has now resorted to attacking colleagues in the opposition who are not holding NUP flags? I'll give you the example of Bujiri, his address that concentrated on attacking the person of Basali.
You see, it also speaks to the relationship the people have had together. Honorable Basalirwa and my president have been friends. They have worked together, so they have a history together. So it speaks to the relationship that they have had. But when I listen to the statement, it's like he was introducing his candidate. He said, previously I came and I introduced this person. I now take the honor of introducing another person for these reasons. So the way he brought it, it is on the basis of the history. That previously I came and brought in a candidate, I am now bringing another candidate for some reason. So it's not like he's going to attack other people, but they have had a history, and that history informed his speech.
You see, I shall help you here. President Museveni does the same. This is politics. All politics is local.
But when you go to an area, does not take
when you go to an area, you do research as a candidate, and you know which issues in this area will resonate with the people. I think the Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi had done his research and known that the NUP was gaining ground against Honorable Basali Razwat. Jema and probably his possibility of returning to parliament.
Okay. So in your opinion, what are...
President Museveni has always gone to places and told people, you send me wrong characters from opposition.
That is opposition.
Whom I cannot work with.
That's
as if you see when you say you brought constitutionalism, constitutionalism is supposed to come with what? With checks and balances. If we are being honest to ourselves. So when President Museveni talks, he talks as if he's the alpha and the omega. He assumes that personality that Peter Sematimba bestowed on him when he called him Nanyini Sente. So that is, the kind of aura that he speaks with. That when I like what you do or the people you send me, I'll dish out.
I guess on this particular, you're not right. Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, my president, did not speak the way he spoke because President Museveni does that. No.
No, it is politics.
It's a given fact that Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, my president, and Basalirwa Asman, my friend, they have a history together.
Okay, I guess, what do you find remarkable as the big highlights of the couple of weeks in which the candidates have been traversing the country? Who is making inroads? Who is carrying the day? And how are the stakeholders performing generally?
The campaigns are boring. You see, presidential campaigns are supposed to be electrified because you are carrying aspirations of a people. You are telling people, you are selling a dream to people that in the next 5 years we intend to change this country from where it is to a dream status that you are aspiring to as a people. So what we are seeing is NUP, same old song, saying we are being curtailed from campaigning freely by the security services or the security forces. That is the main thing coming out of the NUP's presidential campaign. When you come to the NRM, like I said, President Museveni has now renamed. Now we are not talking about Gonava Gagawali, we are talking about PDM. Yeah. When Honorable Namanja was talking about PDM, I had wanted to remind her that there was that incident when the president flew in a helicopter with his entourage, and they were inspecting 4 goats. A farmer who had 4 goats. And you can do the mathematics there. You have all these resources deployed to go and inspect a farmer with 4 goats. Apart from sentimental reasons, I don't understand why
the momentum is low.
The campaigns are not innovative. They are not offering anything new. Putting that aside, I'll comment on something else, which is likely missing out in current affairs commentary. The civil society is absent in these campaigns. And the reason the civil society is absent is because of what happened in the United States, the USAID being, almost wiped out. That is why the civil society is absent in these campaigns.
So what?
Yeah. So why am I saying that civil society is absent? If political players are throwing jabs and then counter jabs, somebody else who is not an active player in the political field should actually say, okay, we are going to take the security services or the security officers to court. Yeah? Why are they overstepping their mandate? Nobody is doing that right now. Why? Because our civil society is a propped up civil society. Just like our elections, where I've kept on submitting that our elections are facade. Yeah? And they are propped up by, you see, the Honorable Namanja is telling us how President Museveni runs away from foreign forces. President Museveni is still president because the UK wants him there, because the United States wants him there. If the Westerners don't want him there, they will discard him.
Very interesting. I'll come to you, Honorable Namanja. Let me hear from Honorable Ssemuju. How do you measure the tempo of the election, the campaign so far? The tempo, the
First
message.
of all, you need to understand that Museveni and many NRM people think to compete against them is a favor that has been extended to you. Just to allow you to compete, you must be very thankful. I've said that's what Museveni thinks. That's what many NRM people think. There are many things that have happened prior to the campaigns. The Honorable Mao, and I want to thank him. There are many people who are attacking him for no reason, because I look at Mao as a commentator. So if the game is boring, even the commentator will tell you it is boring. So don't be angry with the commentator. He said this is going to be the quietest elections in the world. He was just telling you what was going to happen. If you see, I have seen many, the Honorable Chagulan of the Inter-Platform and a few other candidates, they will guide you how they want to campaign. In Rwanda, I'm told they even appoint competitors. So these ones have not appointed, but they must guide you on how you compete against them. So the low momentum is not because the population has lost enthusiasm, but it's because you are running into a guided campaign. If they choose to close the main road,
They will choose, the road they will choose.
The CDF at the beginning said, there are many things he said, I remember some of them. Said, for us, you opposition, you will see what's going to happen to you in these elections. He said that. And then he congratulated NRM after their primaries and congratulated his political party for the first time, a military person, and he said, for us, our work is to give you logistics. And all of those things are recorded. So this election is as Mao had warned the country that it will be. So Mr. Museveni will
Was the country too naive not to read the memo?
There are those who didn't, but and as I said, I remain thankful. Museveni ran this election as a government project, fully funded, with the entire state deployed to ease. Because I mean, at 81 years old, at 81 years, Museveni is no longer the Museveni who came here in 1986, the 40 years we are talking about. He's grown old, he's tired. You can even see him when he's talking, a very tired man. So even the rallies must be organized to suit his biological limitations now. So you must have few, because he can't compete with you, you are disturbing him. So his campaigns will go and are being managed and prepared as a national public program to which every government ministry must contribute. If there are, in some cities you will see some posters congratulating him by authorities, by local government, welcoming him, and then the entire, you need to see when Museveni is traveling, say to Pakwach, you just go to the road leading to that place. So you will see the whole government traveling there to facilitate him. So that's why
the sitting president.
But the law says he can only use resources ordinarily attached to him. Ordinarily. But anyway, now all the resources in Uganda are attached to him. Even the law is useless. The law is useless. All the resources are attached to him. So he chooses, even as he goes around, you have given you a district, you have given you money, you have given you a road, you have given you. So we are not where Tanzania is, who banned the opposition party and detained the main opposition leader who was supposed to be contesting. We are not where Rwanda is, where they appoint competitors, but we are nearly, and we are on our way there. With the current CDF that you have, I have told colleagues, I suspect this might be the last election of this nature. We may go into the one of Rwanda. So even these ones who are moving around, they are not going to be moving there, because in Rwanda they don't need you. So this country should worry. Everyone should worry, and there is a cause to worry, because you can control traffic in Kampala where there are vehicles. Why should you stop a procession in Kasambia where you have 2 vehicles on the road? There is nobody on the road, and you still don't want a procession. Why?
Okay.
Because in Kampala you can say you are
security has been the biggest nightmare. Now the security now is restrictive and there is calm.
Yeah, because you see, what they agreed is that please don't brutalize them. That makes them popular. Must find a way. You must find a way of restricting them without brutalizing them. It's a script. Whether we will live within those limitations, I don't know. Because you are dealing with a population whose behavior you may not even determine.
Honorable Namayanja, I'll give you a chance to respond after the break.